Since she was a little girl, Yara learned that the river had a voice. It wasn't just the sound of the water hitting the sides of the canoes, nor the wind passing through the huge leaves of the trees. It was something deeper, almost a whisper, as if the whole forest were breathing together with her. She lived in a small riverside community, where the houses were simple, made of wood, raised on stilts. There, the sun was a clock, and the river itself was a school. Her mother used to say, "Daughter, the river is our mirror. Whatever we do to it, it does to us." Yara never forgot that sentence. As a child, her happiest day was the day her father came back from fishing. He would arrive with a canoe full and a tired but proud smile. Yara would run along the pier, jump into the boat, and hug her father, even soaking wet. "One day, you'll be the one guiding this canoe, my little guardian of the river." He called Yara that, Guardian of the River. It was almost a secret title, a superpower only she had. At night, they would sit by the fire while the sky filled with stars. Her father told stories of forest spirits, enchanted river dolphins, and ancient trees that kept the memory of the world. Yara listened with shining eyes. At that time, she believed nothing would ever change. But one day, the river began to tell a different story. One month, the water, which had always been clear and full of life, began to flow strangely. Fish appeared floating dead. The current grew weaker, and a different smell came from far away, from a stretch of the river no one in the community usually visited. The elders began to whisper. Yara noticed the worried faces, the eyes looking away. In the small community school, the teacher arrived with the news. They're starting a big construction project upriver. They say it's development, but the river doesn't like it. Yara felt her chest tighten. Development. It was a beautiful word, but the teacher's face was sad. That night, while everyone slept, Yara got up. She walked to the pier, where the river shone under the moonlight. She sat on the edge and ran her hand through the water. "What's happening to you?" she murmured. For an instant, the wind blew stronger, and the trees made a different sound, like a warning. Yara felt afraid, and along with the fear came a certainty. She needed to do something. She was a guardian of the river, wasn't she? A few days later, Yara's father went fishing, as he always did. He promised to come back before sunset, but the sun hid behind the forest, and he did not return. The community began to search. Canoes cut through the water. Lanterns lit the darkness. Shouts echoed over the river. Yara, eyes full of tears, kept calling, "Dad, Dad." They found the canoe overturned farther ahead, near the area where the water had already become strange. Yara's father was not there. Yara's heart broke. Her mother collapsed in tears. The entire community felt the loss, not just of a man, but of a piece of their own history. That night, Yara felt that the river cried along with her. The small waves hit the pier softly, as if asking for forgiveness. She knelt, clenched her hands, and said, between sobs, "If it was you who took my father, I will never love you again. Never again." But even as she said it, deep down it hurt even more, because she knew the river was a victim too. Months passed. Yara spoke little, smiled little. She helped her mother as much as she could, went to school, but it felt as if a part of her had stayed there, at that point in the river. One day, a group of outsiders arrived in the community. They were biologists, activists, people with cameras, notebooks, and curious eyes. They wanted to listen to the residents, to understand what was happening to the river. One of the researchers, a man with a calm voice, asked, "Who here remembers what the river was like before?" Before any adult could answer, Yara raised her hand. With a trembling but firm voice, she began to speak. She told them about the shine of the water, the big fish her father used to bring, the days when the river looked like a perfect mirror of the sky. She also told them about the day her father was gone, the overturned canoe, the strange smell coming from upriver. While she spoke, the adults fell silent. Some of them cried. The visitors took notes, but more than that, they listened with respect. When she finished, the researcher came closer and said, "You have a very strong voice, Yara. You are what we call a defender of the river. Have you ever thought of telling this story to more people?" Yara lowered her eyes. She had never left that place. She had never even imagined speaking to people from outside, but in that moment, she felt her father's words again. My little guardian of the river. Maybe that was her calling. The visitors brought cell phones, cameras, and a little bit of hope. They taught Yara how to record short videos, how to speak facing the camera, how to show the river, the trees, the changes, but also the beauty that still resisted. At first, Yara was shy. She trembled, forgot the words. But when she remembered her father and everything the river had given to her community, courage grew inside her. In the first video, she said, "My name is Yara. I was born on the banks of this river. It gave me water, food, stories, and it took my father away. Today I speak for it, because if this river dies, a part of us dies too." The video was posted on the internet. She didn't even really know what it meant to go viral. But in just a few days, people from distant cities began sending messages of support. "Stay strong, Yara. We are with you. How can we help the river?" Yara was moved by every comment. For the first time since her father's death, she felt she was no longer alone. More videos followed. She showed the forest, talked about the animals, about the children who swam in the river, about the elders who were afraid of what was coming. She told ancient legends, taught words from her community's language, showed her mother's handicrafts, seeds, colors. Her channel grew slowly, then suddenly very fast. Over time, more people began to pay attention. Newspapers wanted to interview Yara. Organizations invited her to events. Teachers from other cities used her videos in their classes. But not everyone liked it. A representative of the company working upriver appeared in the community. He went looking for Yara and her mother. "You're getting in the way. You're saying too much. This project is important for progress. Think about your future, girl. We can help you if you stop with these videos." He put an offer on the table: money, a better house, maybe even taking Yara to study in the big city. Yara's mother, tired and frightened, was confused. Life was hard, and the offer sounded tempting. She closed her eyes and whispered. Yara went out once more. "What should I do?" The moon was high. The wind blew. The river slowly calmed, lifting the strands. Memories of her father came back strong. As like on the forest once again, were answering without words. Then she remembered the silent promise she had made as a child. To protect the river. Not for money, not for fame, but for love. Love for the place where she had grown up, for the people who lived there, for the stories that existed long before she was born. The next morning, the company man came back wanting an answer. Yara looked into his eyes and said, with a firm voice, "My future is here. If I accept your money to keep quiet, what will be left for the children who are still to be born? I can't sell what is not only mine. The river belongs to all of us." The man was irritated, but he couldn't do anything, because at that moment, the entire community stood behind Yara. No one wanted to remain silent anymore. With the support of the community and the visibility of her videos, environmental organizations joined the fight. Lawyers went there. Studies showed the impact of the construction. Complaints were filed. The battle was not easy. It took months. Yara cried, was afraid, and thought about giving up many times. But every time her strength seemed to run out, someone sent a message. "Yara, don't stop. Your voice has reached us. My children love your videos. They're learning to love nature." And she would take a deep breath and go on. Until one day, it wasn't a perfect ending, but it was a victory. A victory that began with the courage of a Riverside girl with a simple cell phone and a huge heart on the riverbank. At sunset, Yara put on a feather headdress her grandmother had made especially for her. It wasn't just an ornament. It was a symbol of responsibility, belonging, and continuity. She asked her mother to hold the phone and pressed the record button. "Today I'm not going to talk about sadness," she began, smiling. "Today I want to talk about hope." Behind her, the river shone in golden tones. Some fish were starting to appear on the surface again. The sound of birds filled the air. I've learned that the river has a voice, but sometimes it needs our voice too. If you're watching this video, remember, every time you choose to respect nature, you're saving a little piece of stories like mine. I am not just a girl from the river. I am part of it, and you can be too. She closed her eyes for a moment and felt just like when she was a child, that the river was breathing together with her. In that moment, Yara understood. Her father was no longer there physically, but every wave, every reflection of light, every breeze that touched her face seemed to say, "I've always believed in you, my guardian of the river." The camera pulled back, showing Yara, the river, the forest, and the sky meeting on the horizon. Her story was only beginning. But one thing was already clear. No one who watched that video would be the same afterward. Because deep down, we all carry a river inside us, and it's time to learn how to take care of it.